Hey guys, we're going to be looking at multiplication of complex numbers in this session. Just give you a bit of a theory and then work through some examples. So before we start doing this, remember that I squared equals -1. Let's take Z1 as one of the complex numbers, which will be x1 plus iy1, and Z2, which is x2 plus iy2. So if you want to find the product of these two complex numbers, we have Z1 times Z2. We just need to replace the Z's with x in terms of x and y. So we're going to have x1 plus iy1 times x2 plus iy2. And we treat this as pretty much as the same thing as a quadratic expansion. So we multiply the first two terms, where this will be x1 times x2. Then we have the outsides, which is x1 times iy2. Then you have the inside, x2 times iy1. And finally the last terms, which is iy1 and iy2. Alright, so simplifying this, as you can see, everything is still going to be the same except for the last term, because here we now have I squared y1, y2. Now we know that I squared is -1, so when we write this up, the only thing we need to remember is change I squared to -1. So, sorry, let's try that again. There we go. -1, y1, y2. That's pretty much the theory behind it. Just looking at a couple of examples, hopefully you guys get the hang of it. So, on to the next slide. Okay, I would like to multiply these two complex numbers, 3 plus I multiplied by 2 minus 3i. So, just write it as it is, and then treat it exactly like a quadratic expansion. So, first, 3 times 2 will have 6. The outsides, which is 3 times -3i, which makes it minus 9i. Then we have the insides, which is I times 2, which is 2i. And finally the last terms, which is I times minus 3i. You're going to get -3i squared. So simplifying this, I'm going to collect the like terms, which is the I. So I've got 6 minus 7i. And then here I have minus 3. But remember that I squared equals -1. So I'm going to replace this with -1, which means minus 3 and minus 1 would make it positive 3. I'll actually do that again. So we've got 6 minus 7i, and minus 3 times -1 is positive 3. So simplifying this, I would get 9 minus 7i. And that's how I multiply two complex numbers. Okay, looking at another example. Let's say this time I want to expand 4 plus I to the power of 3. So just like how you would expand a cubic, where you multiply the first two brackets and then multiply with the third bracket, it's pretty much what you're going to do here as well. So we're going to have 4 plus I cubed equals 4 plus I times 4 plus I times another 4 plus I. Okay, so doing the firsts, I have 16. Doing the outsides, I have 4i. Doing the insides, another 4i. And finally the last, which is just I squared. And this all multiplied by the last bracket, which is 4 plus I. Okay, simplifying the left bracket, I'm going to get 16 plus 8i plus I squared is equal to -1. And this is all multiplied by 4 plus I. Okay, simplifying the left-hand bracket, I'm going to get 15, because 16 minus 1 is 15, plus 8i times 4 plus I. Now, I have to repeat the process again because I haven't fully expanded this. So I'm going to do the firsts. 15 times 4 is 60. Then the outsides, plus 15i. Then I do the insides. which is 32i, and finally the last terms, which is plus 8i squared. Now, simplifying this, I have 60 plus 47i plus 8. Now, I squared is equal to -1, and therefore I have that left over. So 8 times -1 is -8. So the final answer I'll get is 52 plus 47i. And that's how you multiply complex numbers. All right, that's all for this session, guys. Thanks for watching.